We're halfway through August here. The summer is fading away. I can feel the tears welling up in my eyes, ready to roll down my cheeks, as we're already a few months away from cold weather here outside.
Say it ain't so.
Outside the Sports Frenzy studios. But yes, you heard him. He's back. My brother from another mother, the conquistador, Dave Hyde, is back.
Heidi ho, you sports misfits.
It is time for your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast. Yes, it is Sports Frenzy 2.0 here, taping on August the 14th, 2024, dropping early on the 15th. We will wrap up the Olympics, what we've got, what we care about, which is not very much. But to start things off, we have the return of NASCAR, and what a return it was.
Yeah, that's an understatement. It was actually a halfway decent race from start to finish, surprisingly, because the racing hadn't been all that great.
Well, so that leads me to my question, because I texted you at the beginning of the race and you were out to dinner.
Yeah,
and you caught up later.
Catching some bits of it.
But I was not a fan of the option tires.
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick, man.
It was a gimmick.
It's another thing that takes the race out of the hands of the drivers. Why don't we just strap a nitrous tank on as well now?
Well,
and let them shoot the nitrous when they want. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's like in Formula One and IndyCar where you get power boost every so often. There are times you're allowed to use it and times you aren't.
Right. And we all know how wonderful F1 is.
Yeah, it sucks.
And the option tires was the one reason why Daniel Suarez was competitive.
Yeah, he just happened to have used it at the right time.
Early on. He jumped on him early on and made up. And I'm watching him rocket through,
It was about a second a lap.
Yeah.
Faster.
He ends up winning the second stage. But if it wasn't for those option tires, and we're supposed to go, oh, but it was smart strategy. Sure. But again, when does the driver matter? It's all about pit strategy, fuel strategy. Now, option tire strategy? Come on.
The driver still has to manage the tires and the fuel.
Yeah.
Save where you can.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Don't like the option tires at all.
No,
fuel strategy is different to me.
Yeah.
It's not like you're using different fuel mixtures.
Right. No, the option tires are a gimmick that need to just go away.
So I don't know what NASCAR has planned for the future of the option tires. They're going to take.
You're going to see it at all the short tracks.
The TV ratings, you can't judge these TV ratings because they were up against part of the closing ceremonies for the Olympics. So they're going to. Really, the Horn of Disgrace already?
Yeah. It's the Olympics.
But that's what they're going to do. They're going to use that as an excuse. They're going to say, well, we can't really judge the success or the failure of the option tires in the Richmond race because we were up against, our own company airing the Olympic closing ceremonies. Denny Hamlin had the pole. Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano were fighting for the lead as we went into overtime. Now,
what a mess.
To be fair, Austin Dillon should have won the race if it wasn't for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Why does he still have a ride, by the way?
Kroger loves him.
God, Stenhouse is a disaster, and I'm sorry, we'll get to it, but Austin Dillon is not a good driver either.
No, because then that led to overtime and everybody putting on the option tires. And then Joey Logano gets out to the big lead on the restart.
Yep, because Austin Dillon doesn't know how to drive a race car properly. If he was any damn good, he had a better car than Logano. But he doesn't know how to drive it. Logano knows how to drive the car. That's why he got the lead on the restart.
Yep, but somehow Somehow Dillon, last ditch.
Makes a bonsai dive bomb move into 3 to wreck Logano out of the way.
And then Hamlin tries to sneak out to the lead as he was kind of waiting to see what was going to play out between those two. And then his spotter, Austin Dillon's spotter, basically tells him, well, now you got to wreck Hamlin. So he hooks Hamlin.
In the right rear, which is the big no-no.
He ends up winning the race. Now, this was one of those races where there was nothing clear-cut about the top 3 or 4 positions.
No, because it was one of those, again, where when Hamlin finally got corrected and came across, he was in 6th place.
But they awarded
him 2nd place because he was taken out. They pulled one of their little make-good moves.
And that's why when I was telling everybody in our group that I was going to hold off on sending out the updated spreadsheet, that was one of the things I was expecting to change, is I fully expected them to drop Hamlin back down to 5th or 6th.
Yeah, or were they actually going to penalize Dillon, take the win away from him, and give it to Logano,
and everybody bumps up behind him.
Yeah, or you drop him back, and where everybody was running when the caution came out, that's where they would have finished.
So the news just came out a few hours before Dave and I started recording this extravaganza. Austin Dillon will get to keep the win from Richmond, but it will not count towards playoff eligibility.
They only got it half right.
So that helps out Boucher and Chastain and Bubba Wallace.
Yeah. Now, we all know rubbing is racing, the bump and run, final laps, move them out of the way. That's all well and good when you're right there on the guy's bumper in the final corners, or you're side by side making the move to get him out of the way. Not when you're 5 car lengths back and have to just go balls to the wall, screw it. If I wreck in an attempt to get a win. That was uncalled for.
Yep. So not only does his win not put him in the playoffs, but they were also docked 25 driver, 25 owner points, and the spotter, who was the one who basically said, and everybody heard it, because we all have access to that audio, talking about Hamlin, he is out for 3 races now.
Yep, the final 3 of the season.
Yep, he will not be able to come back till the playoffs. And it looks like now that Mr. Dillon will not be a part of those playoffs.
Yeah, but of course, we gotta have to appeal it because we don't agree. So who knows when that appeal will take place.
Yeah, and that's not fair to the 3 I just mentioned, the guys who are on that cutoff line.
Yeah.
A little bit above, a little bit below. The 3 guys who were fighting to get into the top 16 in points. Again, yes, there are some who have wins that mess things up. But it's basically Bubba Wallace, Boucher, and Chastain right now that are trying to... Truex, even though he got a DNF at Richmond, still has more than enough of a cushion on points.
Right.
Well, he'll still be the first one in. Because there's only 3 spots left now, right? 3 or 4?
3 or 4, yeah.
I can't now see the whole Austin Dillon thing has screwed me up. I think there's 4 now. I think it was 3. I think it was 3 if Dillon had actually been awarded the win and the playoff spot. Now I think it's back to 4. I think it's back to 4 now. All right.
NASCAR needs to do something, though. You can't let something like that go. Like I said, they got it half right.
Yep. And then Joey Logano, not a fan of this, but he got fined $50,000. Now, you and I were talking about this. We don't know if it's for his driving.
It came down, the fine was for his actions on pit road, lighting up the tires and almost hitting people, causing people to scatter. So
I did see that.
You cannot do anything on pit road. That is a major no-no, and he rightly deserves to be fined for those actions.
Okay, I was just worried they were fining him for his comments.
No, it was fine for his actions on
and
pit road.
I did see that, and he was reckless.
Yeah.
He was definitely reckless on pit road. But, yeah, calling Austin Dillon chicken shit should not get you a fine.
No,
Because it
that
was
wasn't
a chicken
it.
shit move.
It was, completely.
And I told you, I saw when they were talking to Hamlin and they flashed back over to Logano, him getting lectured by a NASCAR official. And I would have been in that NASCAR official's face telling him, why don't you shut the fuck up and leave me alone? You weren't in the car with me when I got wrecked. You have no idea what I went through, you big fat tub of goo.
If it was about his interview.
Yes.
The official had every right to get in his face for his actions
Yes.
in the car on pit road.
Yes, if that's what it was about. All right, we have a couple contract extensions to discuss. Daniel Suarez will be with Trackhouse again in 2025. I actually had to look this up, kind of interesting. I was like, didn't Suarez get an extension already? And I had to go back 2 years ago when we discussed
Suarez
got a 2-year extension.
Yeah.
Back in 2023 for 23 and 24.
Yeah, and now they're giving him another year.
Yep, he's got a sponsor set up, so that's always a massively important component to all of this. So Suarez comes back, and of course making the playoffs, big deal as well.
Yeah, that really helps.
Yeah. And then, surprisingly, now I like Eric Jones a lot. Has he ever really had a good car under him, a good team with him? I don't know.
Not really.
But he is going to stick around with Legacy Motor Club. He has got a multi-year extension
because
now.
who else is going to want to drive for him?
Oh, come on. Jimmy Johnson's a legend.
In his own mind.
So Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez will be back in their cars for next year. That brings us to race 24. We've only got 3 left, kids. 3 left in the regular season before we get to the Donnybrook known as the 10-race playoffs.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Yes, Mr. Mora, playoffs. Race 24 coming up this Sunday, August the 18th, 2024. The Firekeepers Casino 400 up at MIS, Michigan International Speedway.
The Irish Hills of Michigan.
And I think you and I have a similar viewpoint on who should dominate this race if all works out as it should.
Yes. Kyle Larson.
Yep, just like Denny Hamlin at Pocono, Kyle Larson, you told me, I've penciled it in. I knew you had because I had as well. Aaron is with us also.
There we go.
So, but that's the thing that shocked me.
Is how many people still have a Larson out there
that didn't use one on this race, and we've only got 2 more after this, and one of them is Daytona. Why the hell would you waste a Larson at Daytona?
You don't.
I don't know. But, so you and me and Aaron, dare I say the smart ones in the panel, are taking Kyle Larson. Now, Sam, who actually had a Larson left, says he's flipping this on me. He's taking Ryan Blaney. And I'm like, I'm looking at him for maybe next week.
Potentially next week.
Right. But, again, if you have a Larson, I don't understand the logic. Blaney's not bad at Michigan, but who knows?
Who knows?
We'll
wait and see.
Bill is maxed out on Kyle Larson, so he had to go another direction. He takes Chris Buescher. Jen, another one, and she needs help. She's close.
She needs a win.
She's close on points. Even if Larson wouldn't win this week, you figure he'll put up great points.
Yeah, you would hope.
She doesn't go with him either. She goes with Brad Keselowski. Nick goes with Tyler Reddick. Doug goes, finally, after weeks of questioning his picks, I gotta say, this isn't bad. He's going with Joey Logano this week.
Not a bad pick for this week.
The thing is, he needs a win.
Yeah,
He's the one that's
desperately.
too far out. Jen's still got a shot with points. But, yeah, Doug needs a win. He's too far out right now to make it on points.
Yeah. Going back to Richmond, I did get one of those valuable stage wins out of Christopher Bell. But son of a bitch, speeding penalty. You talk about probably the dominant car of the day.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep, the speeding penalty put him back just outside the top 10. And it took him the entire rest of the race to get it back inside the top 10.
He was buried in the mid-20s after that speeding penalty.
Right.
And managed to pull off a...
Yeah, he had to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I know, but I had to, by the way, a little bit of insider info here for you kids. Bill had to email me after I sent out our update, and I mentioned that you had won the stage. He says, remind me again, what benefit is that for us? And I'm like, God, didn't I explain this to everybody
an
at the
extra
beginning
point.
of the season?
You get an extra point for the playoffs.
Because we had to dumb it down and make it easier for everybody. And so now when I have to reset everybody on points here in a couple weeks, they're all going to go, I don't understand where you came up with this number. Why are you so far ahead of everybody?
Because of victories and stage wins.
And you get the bonus points based on where you finish in the NASCAR standings.
That's right. We explained it all out to everybody.
So, yeah, I'm right now in good shape in line for 15 bonus points on top of the wins and the stage because I am in first place in NASCAR right now.
Yep.
I am blowing the field away. That's how good of a year I've had. And that was part of our program, part of our structure for when you and I put this together. We saw what Sam did last year. He was the one last year that was blowing the doors off the regular season. And we were like, he should be further ahead at the playoff reset.
So here we go.
Anyway, it's just like normal. You and I have to fix everything in this fucking world and run it all.
Heavy is the head.
Yes, the burden that we have to carry on our shoulders. No wonder my back and my feet always hurt. All right, let's move on to baseball. I don't know if there's really all that much to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Baseball at Bristol. I did not get to spout off about that bullshit last week.
Yeah, there's going to be some stuff where you're gonna hit on some things that I brought up last week, but go ahead.
How freaking pathetic is the two sports that are struggling the most think that spending extra money to build a stadium inside of an auto racing infield is going to save either sport. It's absolutely pathetic.
That's exactly what I said too.
Absolutely pathetic.
Yep. So what is it? The Cardinals and the the Braves and the Reds. Braves and the Reds. Sorry. Braves and the Reds next year at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's a desperation move. Now, hopefully NASCAR's smart enough this time around, since they had to flip the bill for the Clash and build that track twice out in the Coliseum in L.A., and then...
Major League Baseball better be paying for this.
Yes, exactly. Because if NASCAR's paying for this, boy...
They're dumber than...
Yeah, some of the moves, if that's the case, some of the moves they've made over the last 3 or 4 years... I wouldn't want them running my local Dairy Queen, let alone a major sports league like NASCAR.
Amen to that.
All right, let's talk about our teams. I don't want to, but we got to.
You don't want to.
Hey, you guys beat the Yankees the other night.
Destroyed them. Yeah, and then dropped the next couple. Or dropped the next one.
Yeah, they haven't played yet.
We'll probably lose tonight. But no, the Sox sitting at 29-92. God, 63 games under 500. 42.5 behind the Guardians. They just suck.
Yeah, well, I can't say much about the Cubs. Cubs are right now 59-62. Gave me a little glimmer of hope through the weekend, this past weekend. And now they go to Cleveland, and Cleveland is just beating them like the little bitches that they are. Looks like the Guardians are going to sweep the Cubs. They're losing. Last time we checked, they'd lost the first two, but last time we checked tonight, Cubs were down 2-1. So the Guardians are indeed looking for the sweep. Cubs right now in fourth place. At least they've gotten out of the cellar, because I believe the Pirates have now lost 10 in a row. So much for that. So much for that blueprint of getting the young core of talent and putting it together and making that team work and grow together and edging your way up through the standings into the playoffs, like the Orioles, like the Astros. So much for that. Pittsburgh is cursed.
Yeah, they're just badly run.
That's why I took the Padres this week. I saw the Padres had 3 against a struggling Pittsburgh team, and I saw that they weren't going to have to go up against Skeens. So I was like, all right.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, so I've got 3 wins already this week. And luckily, Bill lost today with the Twins.
Yes, I need the Yankees to win tonight against the Sox, and they need to take out the Tigers.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious with Bill's
At least
pick.
get me 5 wins. I was hoping for 6.
Yeah. No, your pick, I was thinking last week about waiting to take the Yankees this week like you did. And I overthought it, and I should have done San Francisco like Bill did and then did the Yankees this week. So I did the Yankees last week thinking 6 home games, and sure enough, 3-3. Pathetic. I mean, my God, if Soto and Judge are just...
They're on fire right now.
But the rest of the team is abysmal.
Yeah, they're bad. They are bad. Both of them well over 300 right now.
Yeah, I believe combined there's 72 home runs combined right now. And we're not even through August yet. Now everybody's speculating now about Soto, hit 3 home runs last night?
Yeah, the only
Sox?
offense that the Yankees had in a 4-1 win.
And now I'm hearing speculation that Soto might get a $600 million deal.
God, nobody is worth that kind of money.
They're saying this is the one guy that will get it. Yeah, even with Boris as his agent.
Ugh.
Now, you haven't even brought up the fact that while you were gone, we had a managerial change with your White Sox.
Yeah, they actually fired Pedro Grifol before the end of the season and promoted from the bench assistant coaching duties Grady Sizemore. And it hasn't helped a damn bit.
He's got, 1 win right now?
Yeah.
And so merciful that the White Sox are, they let Grifol snap that losing streak,
And
the 21, the AL tying 21 game losing streak.
Yeah.
And then they fired him.
As soon as they got home.
Yeah.
They didn't fire him on the road. They waited till they landed and said, yeah, bye-bye. He was not the right coach. Last year's team had the talent to do something. And for all his talk about having everybody prepared, playing the game the right way, fielding and situational hitting, they did none of that. And it got progressively worse through the season, and it carried over to this year. So he's definitely not a major league manager in any way, shape, or form.
Yep, so we'll see about Grady Sizemore. I think
He's just running it out for the season.
I saw, as I pour through the rumblings and the rumors every night, the White Sox are targeting, you're going to love this.
God, who are they looking at from the Royals this time?
No, they're looking at somebody from the Marlins.
Oh, because they're so good.
I think their current manager, I believe, is Skip Schumacher. And I think the White Sox want to make a run at him.
Why?
I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
Chris Getz is an idiot. Yes, you got to go outside the organization. but go to a winning organization and pilfer somebody from there.
Well, but they're looking at his history with the Cardinals.
I don't care. That's still bullshit. Stop going back. Yeah, you went to La Russa because of what he did with the Cardinals.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're fixated on the Cardinals.
Oh, my God. Just stop the stupidity. Reinsdorf, sell the damn team already.
I don't want him to sell the team unless they're going to keep it in Chicago.
Either way, it puts me out of my misery.
You won't have a team to root for in baseball anymore.
That's fine, then I'm done with baseball.
Well, that'll be fun for the podcast. All right, we just talked about the Yankees and how much they are, at least from what I can see. I know the record doesn't say it. The record makes it look like they're one of the best teams in baseball.
They got issues, though.
But yeah, outside of Soto and Judge, now newly acquired Jazz Chisholm. Yeah, I know. Don't want to mispronounce that one.
No, you do not.
Jazz Chisholm on a slide into home plate the other night. Injured his UCL. Looks like he's going to be going to the injured list.
Ouch.
So that will put another ding in this lineup. So if pitchers can get around Soto and Judge, now I don't know how you do it, but if you can, I'm not saying you walk both of them. That's chicken shit, to quote Mr. Joey Logano. But yeah, the rest of the lineup is trash.
Yeah, why challenge them and let them beat you? Make the rest of the team beat you.
Yep. And their pitching staff is awful.
Yeah. They smoke and mirrors?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Garrett Cole's still fine, but he's coming off an injury, so he's still trying to get up to speed. And your buddy Carlos Rodon's been up and down all year.
Mr. Inconsistent.
Yep. Staying up in the Northeast, shifting from the Yankees to the Red Sox, and here's an interesting dilemma. Now, you said you had a dilemma. I don't believe it has to do with this. But let's deal with the issue of Red Sox outfielder, and he was an all-star this year, I believe.
Yeah, Jarren Duran.
Yep.
His 2-game suspension for yelling at a fan.
Yes, an anti-gay slur, the F word.
Yep.
Now, for him, because he is still going through his early years, even though he's not getting paid for these 2 games, it only amounts to a little over $8,000 for him.
But yes, that he is the part of my dilemma.
Okay.
Badass or dumbass doubling down? Because after it was announced he was suspended, the t-shirt he wore to the press conference read, "Fuck 'em."
Oh, no, I did not know this.
Yes. So he wore a "Fuck 'em" t-shirt to his press conference. Ergo, is he a badass for bring it for the suspension, or a dumbass for doubling down that, yeah, I meant what I said and I don't have any remorse?
Well, and we've got a couple minutes here to spend on this, because I found this to be very interesting quandary, as you did obviously as well. Now, I didn't know about the t-shirt. Now, he did immediately, from all accounts, apologize.
Yeah, he knew right away.
The home plate umpire, I believe.
Yeah.
And then obviously press conference afterwards, and everybody said the right thing. Again, I did not know about the t-shirt.
Yeah.
But here's the weird thing about this. And this is what makes this so difficult. Because it is one of those situations where you kind of go both ways on it. Jersey sales for Duran have gone through the roof ever since this incident happened. Now, what does that say about people? Is that a good thing? A bad thing? Now, I will say this. And again, we're politically incorrect, so I don't give a fuck. I hate the alphabet mafia.
Yes.
I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Because they act like they are more entitled to protection than anybody else, even though they say some of the most heinous, awful, disgusting things. And they do some of the most heinous, awful and disgusting things.
That they can get away with it, but nobody else can.
That's my problem with this. Now, he made a mistake. We've all made mistakes. We've all said words and things that we shouldn't have. Whether it was a slur, whether it was just a sentence or two said in anger to somebody that we regretted later.
Yeah.
You know, saying, I hate your guts, I wish you were dead.
Heat of the moment
Yeah,
stuff.
I wish I had not said that
right.
a day later to that person. Something like that. But because the F word was used and it is an anti-gay slur, oh, we got to come down on Jaron Duran and teach him a lesson. Okay, I'm all for trying to stop the hate, but let's do it fairly on all levels. Do I have a problem with him being suspended? No. No, I don't. It's fine. He needs to be better. He needs to be smarter and more mature.
Yes.
But I will just preface it again by saying, fuck the alphabet mafia. You're not special. You're not any better than the rest of us. And I'm tired of between the opening ceremonies of the Olympics and that bullshit and now stuff like this. Whereas if you said something like you called a white person a cracker, everybody laugh, oh, isn't that funny, the drag queen called the white person a cracker.
Yeah, no.
It's not funny, it's hate speech. You want to be protected from hate speech? Everybody should be protected from hate speech. But this hypocritical world we live in, it doesn't seem to work that way. That's my problem with this situation.
Now, regular white person can call another white person a cracker.
What's up, my cracker?
I do. Watching On Patrol Live, you get down there with Florida and the meth heads. Oh, yeah, another Florida cracker.
Yeah. I'm just saying, double standard. But by now, if you guys have been listening over the last few years, you should know this is what we're going to call out.
Yep.
The hypocritical double standards on stuff like this. All right. Good news this week, David.
What?
Unbelievable. No NBA talk.
Thank God Almighty.
And I only have one little tidbit for the WNBA.
We did not give the 300 hitter update.
Okay, go for it.
We are at 10. Yes, 10 batters at 300 or above. Bobby Witt Jr. is still leading at 347. Aaron Judge has jumped up to second at 332.
Aaron Judge could win the Triple Crown.
There's a possibility.
Yep, definitely could win the Triple Crown. And like you and I have been saying, what are we going to have at the end of the year? Is it going to be 7, 8?
We don't know.
All right, like I was saying, no NBA. And the only WNBA news, let me tell you a story. Little personal tale. You'll appreciate this. I did tell you an old friend of mine reached out over the past week or so, wanting to get together for dinner, but he's down in Indianapolis for a convention or a business meeting.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's on you, man. I am not driving down to Kokomo to meet you halfway for dinner. So if you want to come up to South Bend, I'll meet you on the south side. The minute you get off the highway, there's a chain restaurant or two. We can hit one of those. But that's it. I haven't seen you in, 18 years? 15, 18 years?
Haven't talked to him in how many?
Yeah. Here's the thing I didn't like. And I will tie this into the WNBA. He's from Philadelphia. Said, yeah, I'm really not overly, I'm paraphrasing, but basically implying I'm really not overly impressed with Indianapolis. And I'm like, do you understand how Indianapolis is one of the most well-run cities in the country and how they're getting anything and everything?
The way it's organized and laid out and...
Yeah, I don't need somebody from Philadelphia degrading Indianapolis, you know? Which brings me to next year's WNBA All-Star Game. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game will indeed be held in Indianapolis. So,
there you go.
on top of all the Final Fours, they get the NFL Combine. Now, of course, WrestleMania and SummerSlam coming. How dare you insult the great metropolitan area that is Indianapolis, Indiana? How dare you? When do we get the Super Bowl again is my next question.
There you go. Valid question.
But I felt like I had to stand up for Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's a fantastic
love Indianapolis.
town. It's a great city.
I mean, what is not to like about Indianapolis? You got a world-class football venue. You have got a world-class basketball venue, all within walking distance of dozens and dozens of great restaurants.
And hotels.
Yep. You have got the Speedway, of course. You've got a wonderful zoo with a great concert facility attached to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's got everything. AAA baseball affiliate.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't need people from Philadelphia bashing Indianapolis. Sorry. What do you got? Rocky statue?
That's about it.
Yeah. Do they still have the jail built into the football stadium? Remember?
Yeah.
The old stadium had that?
Yeah. Because of all the dumbasses.
Yeah. Sorry, my little aside there when it comes to a city I have grown to love, Indianapolis.
All right, kids, as the preseason is still halfway through, we're going to talk NFL here on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby!
Otherwise known as, of course, iHeartRadio. Do not forget to check out the Facebook page as well with all of our picks when it comes to NASCAR, baseball, and coming very soon, as Dave just alluded to, NFL, and we'll talk college football here in a few minutes as well. Now, we're not quite halfway through the preseason yet. Don't jump ahead here, young man. Okay, now the Bears are close to halfway through.
Bears are about halfway because of the
Hall of
Fame game. Sorry.
Shame on you. Shame on you. So here's what we got for our teams this past weekend. This was the first full weekend of preseason football. Bears beat the Bills pretty handily. Again, it's preseason. We all know this.
Preseason, a lot of the damage was done in the second half.
Yep, in Buffalo, the Bills go down to the Bears 33-6. The Dolphins at home against the Falcons win 20-13. And the Buccaneers in Cincinnati beat the Bengals 17-14. So there you go. For what it's worth, all three of our teams won.
Yep.
I think
still early.
I think the most important thing for us as Bears fans, first and foremost, is Caleb Williams looked pretty damn good.
He did. He looked very poised for his first look at a first-team defense that wasn't his own in game action. And the way he moved, the throws that he made, pretty damn impressive. He had a couple drops. He went 4 for 7.
He did.
And all 3 of those passes were drops that were right there on the money.
Yeah, and he seemed to have a nice connection with DJ Moore.
Yes.
Now, did Rome play?
Rome did. Rome actually, I think, had one of the drops.
Okay. And then Keenan didn't play?
No.
Okay. The veteran getting the preseason game off, of course.
Yeah.
But I think Cole Kmet had one of the drops, too.
Kmet did have one of the drops, too. And like I said, all 3 were right there. Yeah. And Moore said, there's no excuse for me dropping that.
And then, of course, the best pass he had was actually a little no-look flip pass to DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, that was a sweet little move.
Yep. So, all the negativity we were hearing, looks like maybe that was unfounded. It looks like Caleb, for now, And I think the important thing is what you pointed out, is that this was against a first-team defense.
Yeah.
Some of these games, and these coaches
They're
get
not
together.
dialing everything up. But he did face some pressure.
Well, but they get together. The Bears and the Bills obviously got together and said, let's play our starters.
Yeah.
Some other teams were like, let's all play our second team. You're not seeing a lot of these mismatches where you see a first-team offense against a second-team defense or vice versa.
Yeah.
So these teams get together and, they say, hey, what are we going to do here? We're going to play starters. We're going to play second team. I would like to play my second team.
I want my new quarterback to play a couple series against a first-team defense if...
Right. Now, I was very impressed with virtually all 6 of the new quarterbacks, the rookie quarterbacks, that were drafted in the first round. I watched, thank God for the NFL Network. For preseason at least, God help me. They might not show a game live, but if you wait 24 hours, you'll pick it up on your DVR because they'll have shown it at 4 a.m. So I got to watch not only Caleb Williams, but I watched Bo Nix. I watched one series with Jaden Daniels. That's all he played. And then I watched my man, Michael Penix Jr. And they all looked good. Very, very good. Bo Nix might have actually been the best of the lot.
That's what I heard a lot of, that Nix really seemed poised and in control.
He's not working outside of himself. He's not throwing crazy passes. He is taking what the defense gives him. He will run when he needs to. He will dump it off when he needs to. So maybe with Sean Payton as his coach, could have
potential
something there. But yeah, Penix, I just love him. The one problem I see with Penix is that if he does not have protection, he's in trouble. Because the one or two times I saw, and one time, shame on his left tackle.
Uh-oh.
Now, that wasn't his blind side. For him, as a lefty, that was right at his face. And the guy just did an ole, and it was coming right at Penix. At his face.
Yeah.
Not blind side, and he barely got the ball off to throw it away. But you can tell he's more of a Dan Marino type. He's
the true pocket.
He's a statue back there.
Yeah.
He's a statue. He's not going to run. All these other guys have a little bit of mobility to them.
Yeah. Well, surgeries have kind of taken their toll on his legs.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of which...
Oh, Mr. McCarthy.
Yeah, one of those impressive rookie quarterbacks. That's it. The one preseason game is all we're going to see from J.J. McCarthy this year.
Yep. Torn meniscus surgery, not the trim, the full-on repair, done for the season.
So, if you're a Vikings fan, if you're a fantasy football player, how much faith do you now put in Sam Darnold?
To get the ball to Mr. Jefferson.
Yep, he's still got Jefferson, he's still got Addison.
Oof.
Didn't they bring in Aaron Jones from the Packers?
Yeah.
So they've got a decent running game now.
Yeah.
As opposed to last year with my sleeper pick, Alexander Madison. Oh, kiss my holy fucking ass!
Who slept through the whole season.
Oh, can I tell you something as an aside?
Sure.
I already did my first fantasy draft last night.
Of course you did.
I got an A. From Yahoo. Yahoo gave me an A. You will love my team name, though. I kind of wish now that I had saved this one for our league. Measuring my Penix.
Nice.
And then now Yahoo's added all these different logos and pictures. If you don't want to take the time to upload one custom one, right? Yeah. So one of them was a hot dog.
There you go. Why
not? I got an A, so I'm doing all right. But here's the thing that I want to point out. Even though I picked everybody, where I was supposed to, and picked a couple guys ahead, a little bit ahead of everybody else. Now, most of it was people, these lazy assholes, do the auto pick.
Why do you
So
even
it's not
bother
like
on
it's
it? Why do you bother auto picking
if you're trying to do
in a
practice like I
practice
am,
draft?
you
What's
got to
the
be
point?
there to practice.
Unless they just wanted to see where everybody was picking.
Yeah, so it was like me. There's 10 teams. There's me and like one or two other guys. So that kind of sucked a lot of the fun out of it because you know where the computer's gonna go.
Yeah, they're just gonna straight
go in order
best.
Until they go, oh, you need a defense. Oh, you need a tight end. Then they're gonna start, jumping back.
Yeah.
But here was the thing. Just one last thing, because of course, in 2 weeks we will have our recap of the Sports Frenzy 2024 fantasy football
That's
draft.
right.
I hated my team. I got an A and I hated my team. I'm just like, I hate this guy. I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I hate that guy.
Then why did you pick them? Because they were there.
Because there wasn't anybody even remotely close where I went, if I take the guy who's 2 back or 3 back in the rankings.
It's not going to be any better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I just think it's going to be an ugly draft this year because there's not a lot of sure things out there.
No, there aren't.
There are not a lot. You got CeeDee Lamb.
Will he play or won't
he? De facto number 1 receiver, not in camp to play. Justin Jefferson, one of the top receivers.
Has no quarterback.
So, do you trust Tyreek Hill at his age now?
Is he going to be healthy? Is Tua going to be healthy to get him the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really kind of weird.
Sketchy?
Yes. Some things I liked. Other things, like I said, I just like, okay, so these are highly rated guys, but I hate them. I don't like them. So, that's all you're getting out of me. I'm not giving you any more insight, David, because we become enemies a week from this coming Monday.
Yes, I know.
At the draft.
We're going to find every which way we can to screw each other over.
That's right. And then we will come on the podcast 2 days later
and bitch and
joke about it and have the big board here for all the people on the podcast.
That son of a took him right before the interview.
Yeah, even though we only do 8 teams, it's more fun because everybody, well, hopefully Nick will be there.
Yeah.
But everybody shows up and tries. And I still think you and I and Mrs. C should have that side bet about when Doug is going to take Caleb Williams. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was thinking we should get one round. You pick a round.
Yep.
No over-unders, no prices right
Which
rules.
round
and if
will
we all
Doug
lose, we
take
all lose.
Caleb Williams.
But we pick 3 rounds. Each one of us takes a round. If we want to, we can go 2. Everybody gets 2 picks.
I think we should let the others know what we're doing.
Oh, come on. No, I don't want to do that. Then it turns into something like we're shaming Doug. This is just between us.
Okay.
The concert crew.
Okay.
This is
for the concert crew.
The concert crew will do this. I think we'll work
one
it out.
round. We pick the one round where we think he'll do it.
Just want to do 1 round?
Yep.
Instead of 2 each?
Yeah, just 1 round.
Okay.
Where will he go?
I think next Thursday when we're out to dinner before Lynch Mob, I think is when you and I and Jen should do it.
Yes.
While we're sitting with a beer, waiting for food.
Yep.
We'll take care of it.
We'll take care of it.
Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it the day of the draft.
No.
Okay. Sorry, kids. Just giving you again a little bit. Yeah, this is our Deadpool and Wolverine breaking down the fourth wall thing, which Dave, of course, on the weekend edition is going to have to play catch up on.
That's right, I am.
All right. I'm interested to see your reviews this weekend when you play catch up with that and with Collective Soul, where you fall. I know you're going to have positive reviews, but I want to see how positive. How
there
positive.
We go.
And then we're also going to be reviewing Jack White's new album, No Name. Dave's got a book review, I've got a TV review, and I got a couple really, one's not weird, but one really weird movie review that you will appreciate. A B movie from the 70s.
Oh my.
But more on that on the weekend edition. There's your teaser. You're going to have to check it out this Saturday morning, your Saturday morning hangover cure. So now back to where we were. Of course,
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah,
J.J. McCarthy. And then there were other injuries of note, not as severe necessarily, but Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, just signing here with the Chiefs this year.
Yep.
As they try to find a budget kind of way to give Patrick Mahomes weapons. First game, he dislocates his shoulder.
That's going to be a lingering, nagging.
So he's questionable for the start of the season. Jahmyr Gibbs, running back for the Lions, who is very highly ranked.
Yep.
Has got a hamstring issue. Matthew Stafford.
Yep,
hamstring issue, left practice. And then this one's just for fun. This one isn't going to impact anybody's fantasy football team. Although, give me a second. We'll go through it, and then I got another idea for you. This one is just for us, you and I and Mrs. C, to just laugh about and possibly cry about. Chase Claypool.
Dumbass.
Has got a toe issue, injured his toe in practice late in July, and it looks like he will be going to the IR season-long out for the year.
How about you just cut his stupid ass and be done with him? He is a useless piece of human refuse as a football player.
Yeah, well, I agree. Of course, that will go down as one of the worst trades the Bears ever pulled off.
Oh, my God. Awful.
But once we get to talking about college football, we might have somebody worse from Notre Dame.
Oh, my God.
But other news in the NFL. Oh, my idea. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
My idea. Just for fun, I think if we could rope everybody on the panel into it, which we wouldn't be able to, but wouldn't it be fun to do a reverse fantasy football draft? What I mean by that is you have to draft a starter at every position and on the bench, just like we do normally.
Right.
But your goal is to score the lowest points throughout the year to lose as many games as possible. So like a quarterback, you would try to get like Jarrett Stidham of Denver.
Oh, my God.
He'd be like the highly coveted, highly prized pick. Or the worst running back in the league. The worst wide receivers. But they have to be starters.
They cannot be bench players.
They have to, when you decide to do the draft, you have to have a printout of all the depth charts, and you have to choose the starters. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Wouldn't that be a blast?
Oh, my God.
Pick the worst defense, the worst kicker.
Be the worst team.
Yes. And whoever is the worst team wins the league. I think that's fascinating.
Fun.
I think that's fascinating.
That would be fun.
And then you can go on the waiver wire and pick somebody. If somebody gets injured and they become a starter, you can pick them off the waiver wire.
Yeah.
So like if Sam Darnold got hurt, whoever the backup is going to be there becomes a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Everybody wants him off the waiver wire.
Very intriguing.
I know. I've been thinking about this stuff.
That I kind of like. Maybe not this year, but to think about for...
But who else is going to want to do it with us? Nobody. Because they don't have this kind of insight and forethought.
I think Aaron would be in.
I think he would. Yeah. I think Aaron would.
Sam would probably... We'd get some buy-in from Sam.
I don't know. Maybe. Sam,
I don't know.
I can never read Sam.
I don't... They might actually go for it.
We'll bring it up at the draft and see what they say. And then all we have to do is decide on the day we're doing the draft, we have to have printouts of the current depth chart for all the teams. And you have to pick a starter. That's it.
Yeah.
I think it'd just be great. Your goal is to go, 0-15? How many? Yeah. Right? 18 weeks. I'm trying to remember with the new schedule. So we play 17 games. We don't play the 18th week.
Right.
So 15, yeah. You want to go 0-15.
15. So there is no playoffs.
Right. Yeah, okay, then you go 0-17. You go through the entire...
Yeah, you just
You're
run
right, there's no point to doing playoffs.
Yeah, there's no point. Because how are you going to do that? It's just straight up
Yeah. Unless you have to go into the playoffs and try to tank the playoffs as well.
God.
All right. All right. Sorry, another one of our infamous tangents.
I like it. It's got potential.
All right. Trade. Big trade today. New England Patriots trade Matthew Judon to the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, for a third-round pick. So the Falcons
Intriguing.
are starting to really
They're
bulk that
starting
team up.
They're making an attempt.
Yep.
So now what the hell's going on with the 49ers? They used to be indecisive. Now they're not so sure.
Yeah, I don't. Supposedly there is a deal in place that both teams have agreed on between the 49ers and the Steelers for Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
But the 49ers keep saying they want
Well, we want to keep Ayuk, but we don't want to pay him. You can't have it both ways. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I believe what I read today was that the Steelers' proposal, because of course it's going to be contingent on them giving him a new contract. They wouldn't trade for him, and I'm sure he wouldn't go there unless the ramifications of a new deal were already, the parameters were already set.
Right.
They're already in play. I had read he is under the franchise tag, set to make a little over $14 million this year if he stays with the 49ers, plays out the last year. I read that the Steelers deal that they've got in place for him will double that.
Damn.
So he will be making at least $28 million per year on average if they end up pulling the trigger and trading him to the Steelers.
Damn.
And then that's where I think the 49ers, like you said, aren't sure. Do we really want to pay this guy $28 million a year when we know we're going to have to pay Brock Purdy here within the next year or so?
Yeah.
40, 50 million, if not more.
With the stupidity.
Yep.
Interesting. What will it take for the Bears to give the Jets for Hassan Reddick?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Hassan Reddick, who the Jets just traded for with the Eagles in the offseason, they cannot come to terms, far apart on a deal, it looks like. Now Hassan Reddick has already told him, well, trade me again.
Yep. You don't want to pay me, trade me. And this is one of your top sack guys over the last few seasons.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot of Jets fans, New York fans, of course, are great for rationalizing, trying to rationalize, well, what kind of an impact does this guy really make? 15 sacks, really, is that really that big of a deal? That's less than one a game,
He's a disruptor.
Well, you got to look at the fact that...
Can you imagine him on the opposite side of Sweat?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bears have the cap room right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, maybe now, like we were over a barrel when it came to Justin Fields, maybe now, like you say, we go to the Jets and go, we'll give you a fifth rounder for him.
Yeah.
Because I think the Jets ponied up a third for him, if I'm not mistaken. But there's no way they're getting a third back for him.
No, not if you're going to have to pay.
No. So you go, I'll give you a fifth. See what happens.
Worth a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't hurt to call.
Nope.
Doesn't hurt to just call him and say, hey, Joe Douglas, GM.
What kind of money is he looking for? And...
well, I think he wants to be paid as one of the top edge rushers.
Yeah.
So, that could complicate things.
We'll see. Just throwing it out there would be it's a nice wish.
Yep. Well, we know Netflix for 1 year and 1 year only, is getting Christmas Day games. But we've been wondering, how are they going to pull this off? Do they have the time to set up the infrastructure?
Who are they going to piggyback with?
They are piggybacking with CBS. CBS will produce the Netflix Christmas Day games. Now, not confirmed, but initial reports are Netflix wants to at least have their own talent doing play-by-play in color, which we all say thank the Lord above.
God that we don't have to listen to Tony fucking Romo.
Now, will they hold to that?
God, we can only hope.
The last thing I need on top of Christmas Day NBA basketball is Tony Romo doing NFL games.
I wonder. Nah, probably wouldn't work.
Who you thinking of?
Mr. Olsen, if they could poach him for a game.
Is he going to be the number 2 guy at Fox now? Did he agree to that?
I don't know. But that's an intriguing thought, is it not?
Well, I'm thinking about Kirk Herbstreit now. I know he's working for Amazon, but he basically said something today where I think he's pissing off ESPN because I talked about this last week, and one of my dumbasses was Dan Orlovsky.
Oh, Orlovsky's an idiot.
Because Dan Orlovsky got bullied by Mina Kimes and a bunch of the women at ESPN about the whole boxing controversy in the Olympics. And all he did was he put out there 3 words on a social media post. He put out there, protect our daughters.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, but no, all the liberal fucktards at ESPN bullied him into taking that down.
No. Nope.
That is a shameful father is what that is. That you can't stick by your guns for a simple protect our daughters social media post when your daughters are probably right there sitting over your shoulder while you're doing it. You go, oh, I'm sorry, girls, but Mina Kimes is so smart and she's a bully, so I have to take this down. What kind of example?
Shame on you, Orlovsky.
That's why he was one of my dumbasses last week. But Kirk Herbstreit just took the opposite road. And he basically said, I don't give 2 shits anymore what anybody thinks about my opinions about transgender athletes in women's sports. I don't want them there. I don't like them there.
Good for him.
How is ESPN going to handle that? How is Amazon going to handle that? Is he going to be out on the street? But good for him. Stick up for your ideas. Stand
by your ideals.
Don't let people bully you into thinking a different way.
You can have your opinions.
The only reason you should change an opinion is if you've been presented with new facts and somebody says to you, hey,
have you thought about it this way?
Yes. Not, you're a racist, homophobic bigot, and I'm going to make you feel like crap unless you take that down. And good for Kirk Herbstreit to basically say, no, fuck you. I will feel the way I feel about this.
You can't tell me how I feel about things. Just like you can't tell me what I can watch. You can't tell me what I can read. You can't tell me how I feel.
And as we always say on this show, we'll apologize if we're factually incorrect, but we will never apologize for opinions. Because that's the way we feel, and if you don't like it, stick it straight up your hoo-ha. And then finally, Nick Foles is retiring. I believe he's going to wait until week 1. He's going to retire as an Eagle.
As he should.
Yep. But of course, former Bear, former Colt.
But he had his
former Ram.
But his success was in Philadelphia.
Of course, that's where he will always be remembered as a legend.
Yep.
Is with the Eagles. All right, moving on to NCAA football. I kind of like what the University of Michigan tried to do. I kind of like how they were telling the NCAA, give them the big middle finger after the news coming down about the show cause last week with Jim Harbaugh basically banning him from college football for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So U of M says, oh, Jim Harbaugh is going to be the honorary captain for our home opener on August the 31st.
Yeah. And now Harbaugh says, well, I'm not going to actually do that because I need to focus on getting the Chargers ready for the season, and I don't want to take away from this year's team.
And
Bullshit.
Well,
Bullshit.
That's the smart way to get out of it. Without, UM made their little statement.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh says, okay, that's enough. We've made our point. I got a new job. I got to deal with this. I got Justin Herbert now in a walking boot. I got enough problems.
Yeah. No, everybody knows what Michigan did. They know what they did.
Yeah, but what was it that Jamie sent us that Paul Feinbaum?
No, Paul Feinbaum's a douchebag.
Wants Michigan stripped of the title. Enough of that shit.
No, there was nothing egregious there to strip them of the title.
No. All right.
Did they push the boundaries? Yes. They crossed some boundaries? Yes. But they did not have any players that should not have been playing.
All right. Time to start talking about our teams, I guess, since we're only a few weeks away. Now, the AP preseason poll has come out, and it's identical for our teams, and it's pretty much almost identical overall in the top 25 to the preseason coaches poll. There's a few little tweaks and shifts here, but again, like we talked about with the preseason coaches poll, no team outside of the Big Four. Same thing here with the AP.
Yep, of course that's what you're going to get. It's always going to be the same old story. The same teams are going to be there over and over and over.
So Notre Dame is in the AP, same as in the coaches poll, number 7, and same thing for my Miami Hurricanes. They are number 19. But we've got a couple little news items for both. One very, very bad for Notre Dame. Former Notre Dame running back Sierra Wood.
God, what a piece of shit. And why did it take, 5 years for this judgment to finally be rendered?
Because that is our judicial system.
My God.
And we'll talk more about this kind of stuff, believe it or not, on the weekend edition, where I will bring up something related to this. But at least they got this right.
Yeah. Sierra Wood, life in prison for the death of his girlfriend's 5-year-old daughter.
And again, going back to the legal system, as I was reading the story about this bizarre
The Alfred plea?
Yeah, where he pleads guilty but still maintains his innocence.
Bullshit.
What the fuck does that mean? How can you plead guilty yet still maintain your innocence?
It's stupid. It's bullshit. And his girlfriend also convicted for the murder as well, for allowing it to happen. Why did it take so fucking long for these asshole losers to wind up behind bars?
I don't know. Again, I try to avoid reading the news at all costs. Because unfortunately, just because this is a former Notre Dame running back, this kind of shit happens every day. Every day.
It doesn't matter.
I read a story,
It doesn't matter where you go to school, what class you're from. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, because in the exact same scrolling down on the same page after I saw some guy trying to feed his infant son gasoline. I mean, I'm telling you, this shit goes on every day, and this is what makes this world so disgusting and depressing. And like you said, why does it take so long to figure this shit out? Sunday night TV, executions for people like this.
They used to air hangings.
And I don't care what you fucking liberals out there care about what I'm saying.
The BBC channels used to air hangings in Great Britain.
You tell me what good a person who tries to feed gasoline to an infant child is going to do for our society going forward. Please tell me.
Absolutely nothing.
And unfortunately, like I said, I got more of that shit coming up on the weekend edition. Fun till Daddy takes a T-bird away.
Ugh.
For Miami, former quarterback Tyler Van Dyke has been named the starter for the Wisconsin Badgers. And I kind of liked him. I really did. And
He got put in a bad situation.
He had some injury issues, but yeah, I hate to see him go. I really do. Now, Wisconsin is not ranked in the top 25 for the first time in many, many years in the preseason polls. So I don't know if that's a reflection on Van Dyke or how good this team is supposed to be. You know,
Who
what
knows?
Luke Fickell, I think, is the coach right now up there. I don't know. All right. I know you don't want to talk about it. Olympics. Let's do our Olympics wrap-up.
U.S. won medals. There you go.
All right. Real quick. No, real quick. This will 5 minutes of this crap. Okay. Men's basketball, yes, they won the gold.
Is that not the most dislikable men's team ever to play in the Olympics?
I watched the semifinal with Serbia.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was the one game where they had a shot of being upset. And they almost did go down.
Yeah.
But that outside
Steph
of that,
Curry kept them in that game.
That was my entire Olympic viewing was that one game. That is all I watched of the entire Olympics. Yeah, Steph Curry, not only in the semifinals against Serbia, but in the gold medal game against France. Steph Curry put up 60 points in those two games. He was the reason why we won gold.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you LeBron had triple doubles in both games, but no.
But no.
It was Steph Curry.
Steph Curry was the one to rise to the occasion. And his first and probably only Olympic appearance.
And I will double down on what you're saying about how dislikable this team is. I blame a lot of it on Steve Kerr. And I have heard people saying Steve Kerr should not be asked to ever coach an Olympic team ever again because of how he mismanaged using Jason Tatum, wouldn't use him. And then now, this is the quote of the week. This is the quote of the week from Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton. Now, he needs a little help with the grammar, but the essence of this is hysterical. Tyrese Halliburton, after the men won the gold medal, said, and I quote, "When you ain't do none on the group project and still get an A."
Yeah.
Because he and Jason Tatum didn't really play.
They just pretty much rode the bench.
Yeah, they didn't get to play at all.
Shame on Kerr.
Yeah.
Especially, those two should have been in there, especially when the other guys were struggling.
Women's soccer wins the gold. Women's basketball wins the gold. There's another unlikable team.
Yeah.
And Brittany Griner all of a sudden, I love America so much.
Wrap herself in the flag.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you hypocrite. You fucking hypocrite. Sorry. If you don't know about her history and how she wouldn't stand for the national anthem until she got herself fucked over in trouble with Russia.
Which was her own damn fault.
No, she's a hypocrite. Now, you mentioned a couple weeks ago the whole scandal with the women's boxing. I don't know if I really want to jump into this because I have read a lot about this. There's gray area.
There's a lot of gray.
But what's her name? Imani Khalif from Algeria won the gold in the 66 kilograms. She's the one that everybody's kind of questioning.
Along with the other female boxer from Taiwan?
Yeah. But again, if you read, half the stories will point out how scientifically she is a woman, and then other stories will point out the testosterone level, and we're not scientists here,
no.
Okay, kids? So we'll leave that.
It's questionable. We'll leave it at that.
Yep. Now the overall medal count. The USA and China tied 40 golds each, but the USA dominated overall, winning 126 total medals. Noah Lyles. This will tell you how much the world has changed in the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years. Noah Lyles won the bronze in the men's 200 2 days after being diagnosed with COVID. Oh, he stayed away from everybody, but then of course ran the race. Yep. Obviously still having COVID.
So really, that's going to impact his performance, absolutely.
And of course, that's why he was saying, he said, that's why I only won the bronze, was because I was winded, I couldn't catch my breath because of the COVID. Whereas, 3 years ago, we would have canceled the entire Olympics.
Yeah. Yep.
So, take that for what you will. And then we had the masked shot putter, Raven Saunders.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk, they, them. And the poor British commentator.
They Hulk.
Yeah, the British commentator got corrected by the guy in the booth with him because he dared to say she. That's the kind of stuff the Alphabet Mafia can kiss my ass about. We had that story a month or two ago about the woman who couldn't get on the plane with her kid because she used the wrong pronoun. Fuck your fucking pronouns. How about that? Stick them straight up your ass.
Done, tired. Enough is enough.
One last story on the Olympics and we'll move on. I promise. But this one sucks. This one sucks. This just came out today. Hideki Matsuyama, one of the best golfers in the world. Obviously at the Olympics for Japan.
Yep.
Now he's trying to get back to the U.S. for the FedEx Cup starting up here soon. Had a stopover in London. Robbed. Him, his coach, and his caddy all robbed. Here's the weird thing. Matsuyama, they didn't take his passport. So he was able to move on to the U.S. They did take the passport of the coach and the caddy. So they have to go back to Japan.
Oh, hell no.
To get expedited paperwork to...
Where the hell is the consulate in London taking care of this for them?
They had to go back to Japan.
That's bullshit.
So they say there's a slim chance...
That's bullshit.
...that they can make it back for the start of the FedEx. But
come on, this is absolutely asinine.
But Matsuyama had to line up a backup caddy.
This is absolutely fucking ridiculous in this day and age.
Yeah, and of course, London has got such strict gun regulations, but yet all you hear about are people getting stabbed and attacked with hatchets and knives, and now this kind of stuff. So don't tell me the UK is some safe paradise.
Yeah, well, you're seeing more stabbings here in the United States too.
Yeah, but if you watch On Patrol Live, it seems like everybody they pull over's got a goddamn gun in the car. So
most of them are illegal.
Last week I saw a machete though. I did.
Yep, they did throw the machete out of the guy's truck as he reached for it.
Yep. All right, so now we move on to moments of silence. Those in the world of sports that have passed in the last week or so. Starting off here with golf legend. Can't do it justice because it's a podcast, but I'm trying to do the whole...
The Chichi Rodriguez Zorro.
Yeah, the sword. The golf club is a sword.
Chichi.
Yes, the legendary Chichi Rodriguez passed away this past week. God help us, somebody who had fun. Somebody who had fun playing the game.
Yeah, always had fun.
Yep.
Didn't take it too seriously. I mean, he enjoyed the game.
I still think he won, 8 times on the PGA Tour, if I recall right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chichi's one of those legends that won't go down as the greatest of all time, but one of those
Great
personalities
that transcended the sport
and helped the sport
yes
be more accessible and be more fun.
Yeah. So thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
Another athlete who unfortunately passed away, but should be given props for being another underrated player who did not get the credit that he deserved. Frank Selvey. You're going, who? Maestro, who? Who is Frank Selvey? Frank Selvey played for Furman. And in 1954, he set the Division I record, scoring 100 points in a game.
Good for him.
See, most people would probably go, oh, it had to be Wilt Chamberlain, it had to be Kareem. No, it was Frank Selvey playing for Furman in 1954 who put up 100 points in a game.
Furman.
Now, see, most people won't get that unless they're from the Chicago area.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Mr. Selvey also played 9 years in the NBA, so...
Thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
I think, yes.
That's a significant achievement.
Yep. Former Major League player. Now, I remember this guy when I was growing up. Played for the Twins, played for the Rangers, cup of coffee with the Mets. Mike Cubbage passed away. I think he was probably just before. You were a little bit younger than me, so he's probably just before your time.
Just before I really went full in.
Yep. And then finally, we've already had a bunch of depressing stuff, so let's just keep the train of sorrow going. Thoughts and prayers to Serbia's Lazar Ducic. I hope I got the name right. I am not trying to mispronounce it. In the CrossFit Games, which were happening at the same time as the Olympics, he drowned in the first event of the CrossFit Games.
The swim.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Awful.
Heartbreaking.
Awful. So, thoughts and prayers to him, his family, his friends, and everybody that we just mentioned here in moments of silence. But, Dave, what do we always do?
Time to pivot from sorrow to dumbassery.
See, I missed you last week. You do it so much better than me, you know.
The pivot.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, time to pivot.
Pivot.
Six nominees this week for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
The uncoveted award.
Of course, we've got a few tied into the Olympics. Of course we do.
Of course we do.
So let's start off with those, and then we'll be done with the Olympics. God help us all. We knew this was coming, but I still feel like this needs to be thrown out there again, because this is how much of a joke the Olympics are. Now, I mentioned I watched one basketball game. Did you watch anything?
Bits and pieces as I walked through the living room when my mom had it on, but I paid absolutely no attention to any of it.
Well, this is the kind of stuff that, on top of Snoop Dogg, and on top of Colin Jost and all the idiocy with the people, you know, trying to do comedy bits, and God help me, again, I don't understand the appeal of Snoop Dogg and why everybody was praising him. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. But
yeah, but come on, did you at least give props to Flava Flav for his continued support of everybody?
No, I did not. And I didn't care about Tom Cruise doing a Mission Impossible stunt. I didn't care about any of that shit. And I tell you what I cared about even less than all of that. The debut at the Olympics of breakdancing.
Oh, God, how is that still a thing?
Well,
I thought it
new.
Died in the 80s.
Yeah, but now, no, because they're trying to reach the younger population.
Breakdancing died in the 80s after Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, here's the thing, Dave. You know, we've got to talk to one of our USA breakdancing competitors, or I should say breaking, because B-Boy Jeffro, yes, he's an Olympic athlete for the U.S. B-Boy Jeffro says that we are showing disrespect when we call it break dancing. It is breaking.
Yeah, not breaking, breaking.
I don't care. I think it's pathetic and stupid.
It was an 80s fad that went away with parachute pants.
There's no way in hell this should be a competition in the Olympics. I'm sorry.
No, it should not.
So for that reason, I need to stress this as one of the dumbass moves of the Olympics.
I mean, my God, that was something I did in junior high.
You did? You breakdanced?
Yeah, I could do some of the stuff.
What? What? Oh my God, breaking news. Oh, sorry.
Breaking news.
No pun intended.
Yes, the conquistador used to have some wicked moves.
Oh my
God. On the cardboard.
I never knew this
on
about
the cardboard
you.
in the neighborhood.
I don't know if I can go on with the podcast. Oh my God.
That was in like 6th, 7th grade. It was when the breaking movies were out. It's just shit that we decided to do.
I need to reevaluate our friendship now. What the hell? Oh wow. Okay, this is gonna lead into a long.
I didn't say I was good at it.
This is gonna lead into a long off mic discussion once we're done here. All right, Mike Tirico. I like Mike Tirico. I think he's kind of like the new Jim Nantz. He can do everything, play-by-play. He's pretty solid, whether he's doing football, golf, or in this case, the Olympics. But you gotta get these things right. We talked about the screw-ups with the anthems with some of these teams. Now, after the gold medal game of the men's basketball, of course, France got the silver, and one of their players had himself wrapped up in a flag.
Yeah.
And it's one of the territories of France. It is called Martinique.
Yes.
But Mike Tirico proclaimed that this player was draped in the Palestinian flag.
Yeah, Mike.
That is not a mistake
Mike.
You should be making. I'm sorry.
That was just awful. Horrible. Inexcusable.
And it's amazing nobody was in his ear telling him, Mike.
No, it's Martinique.
And it took him until getting on social media after the medal celebration for him to finally say, oh, he put out the generic,
I'm sorry, I was in error.
Yes. I realize how important this issue is to people.
Do you? Do you?
Well, there were a lot of weird things that happened in France during the Olympics, as we all know. We've talked about them
How
over the
many
past
people
couple
got
weeks.
sick swimming in the Seine?
And then we, of course, had the drag queens in the opening ceremony, and we've already talked about, the weird shot putter and the women's boxing controversy. But, of course, the closing ceremony has to be the quote-unquote handoff to the next city who is going to host the Olympics, the Summer Olympics. So that, of course, would be in 2028, Los Angeles.
Is California even going to be on the planet in 4 years? We were promised!
They've been having some earthquakes
I
lately.
know.
And then, of course, this dipfuck, their mayor, Karen Bass, has come out and said the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics will be a no-car Olympics. They are going to borrow buses from all over the country. There will be 3,000 buses to take people to and from all event venues.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. She did not consult any business in the Los Angeles area, but she went on to proclaim not only will we have a no-car Olympics, but we will have people for 17 days remote working exclusively. We will not have people traveling into work for 17 days. We were able to do it during the COVID pandemic, so why can't we do it for 17 days for the Olympics?
Who's going to run the hotels? Who's going to run the restaurants? Oh my God, this person is a fucking moron.
Well, Dave, she's the mayor of Los Angeles, so.
That says it all.
Yep. Yes, she's a dumbass.
You know. There we go.
Well, we talked about injuries to J.J. McCarthy. We alluded to hamstring issues for Matthew Stafford and then the plantar fascia issue for Justin Herbert. Well, there is a quarterback out there who thinks he can help a team win a championship.
Yeah.
And that would be one Colin Kaepernick.
But you know, Harbaugh wants to have him as a coach with the Chargers.
Colin Kaepernick has not taken a snap in the NFL since January the 1st of 2017. Yet still thinks he is a viable candidate to help a team win a championship.
Hey, Colin, look in the mirror and you're going to see Ed O'Neill as Al Bundy.
Can you say delusional?
Big time.
Now here's one I think you are going to love. We're going to go to the world of chess.
Oh, are we talking about vibrating anal beads again?
No, David. I had purged that from my brain until you just had to bring it up again. No, God, no. Jesus.
You know, some people pay extra for that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and they find them in the trunk of a car when they get pulled over on Patrol Live and
have to be surgically removed.
There was one a couple weeks ago that looked like it was the arm of a squid, and I didn't know what the fuck that was. I have no idea.
It's a new trend.
Oh, Jesus, God. Oh, God. Between you disclosing that you used to breakdance and now you know what this thing is? Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. What a night this is turning out to be. Oh. All right. Off mic. I need to hear about this. Off mic. Russian chess player Amina Bakarova is in jail for trying to poison her chess opponent. Here's the problem.
Was she using uranium-238?
She had a spray that she sprayed on her opponent's chessboard. She had broken open thermometers, put mercury and sprayed the mercury spray onto her opponent's chessboard.
Oh my God.
Opponent did get sick, but will survive. And actually, the opponent should be a badass of the week. Her opponent, I should say rival. They weren't playing each other. Obviously, she's not going to spray the chessboard she's going to be working on as well.
But, oh my God.
But yeah, she fought through the symptoms of mercury poisoning and won the match and then went to the hospital.
Jesus, that's definitely a badass move.
But Amina...
Is Amina related to Vladimir Putin, by the way?
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to pull this off, maybe you could have pulled it off in the 70s. She does it with video surveillance all around her.
Oh, wow.
What did she think was going to happen?
No bueno.
When
I take it back. She is not related to Putin.
What did she think was going to happen when everybody saw her messing around with her opponents or her rivals' chessboard?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Oh, but Brittany Griner. Yeah, I don't like America. Yeah, until we bail your ass out from that kind of shit that's going on in Russia. Then maybe you finally figure it out. Hey, the USA ain't so bad after all. Then finally, one of my favorite dumbasses, seems like week in and week out here in the sports world, Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders.
Deion.
Of course, he thinks he is the be-all, end-all now as a coach, even though really, after a decent start last year, Colorado didn't do much.
Nope. They started, 4-0 and lost the rest of the season?
I believe so, yeah. And now they're moving on to the Big 12. Well, Deion, of course, being the petulant little bitch that he is, and I have told you guys, Dave knows this,
He is
overrated player of all time. I still don't understand the sycophants in the media who kiss his ass.
There's no reason to.
He was a decent kick returner. He was an overrated cornerback.
Oh, absolutely.
Taking plays off all the time. Well, now as a coach, at a recent press conference, a young reporter went to ask him a question, and he said, "Well, who do you work for?" And I believe it was a woman. I think she said, "Oh, I work for CBS, local affiliate for CBS." Deion Sanders says, "I will not answer your question because I do not answer any questions from CBS because they did something bad to me." That's all he would say.
Yeah, that's because they had the coverage of his one son's bankruptcy bullshit.
And there's
also the felonies involved with that case.
And there's also rumors that he didn't like how he was ranked near the bottom or at the bottom in terms of the Big 12 coaches. There was supposedly a CBS report or story online ranking the Big 12 coaches, and he came in near or at the bottom. And he didn't like that.
Oh, too damn bad.
Here's an idea, idiot. Prove something to us.
Yeah, you're all flash. You're all talk. There's no substance.
And of course, the one idiot who will pull him into the pros is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Because Jerry Jones, even though that franchise is now the first ever worth over $10 billion.
It's got to all be on marketing and souvenir sales because that franchise is a freaking joke.
And that's what I'm saying. They can't sign their number one receiver. They can't sign their quarterback. They can't sign their top defensive player. The owner's flying back and forth between the training camp and Arkansas, dealing with paternity lawsuits. Yeah. And he can't wait to get rid of Mike McCarthy and bring this asshat in.
Yeah,
And he somehow thinks he's going to be able to trade up and get his son as well, Shador.
Why? Jerry, lay off the Botox. It's impacting your cognitive function.
Absolutely. All right, Dave, time to make a choice. Last week I left it up to the kids out there in podcast land, but now it's back. The pressure is all on you. Mike Tirico for his mistake with the Martinique flag. LA Mayor Karen Bass for her wacky ideas about the no-car Olympics and everybody working remotely. Deion Sanders for being such a petulant asshat and not taking any questions ever anymore from CBS. Well, now I know this ain't going to win because I know it's close to your heart. Breakdancing.
Should not be in the Olympics. And I didn't say it was close to my heart. I said it was a fad that died.
Colin Kaepernick for thinking he can still play in the NFL. And this Russian chess murder scandal.
Oh, I got to go with the mayor of LA. I have to.
Yeah, I love the fact that she didn't consult any business leaders before declaring.
Yeah, she's just making these wild declarations. What cities are going to give you their buses, you twit?
Yeah, she says she's going to borrow buses from all over the country.
Bullshit. So nobody's going to give them to you when they need them, you moron. That and you won't allow semis that burn diesel into your state to bring in goods, why the hell are you going to allow more buses in? My God, the ineptitude and stupidity boggles the mind.
Yeah, I'm torn on this. I'm torn on this one. I want to go with you and LA Mayor Karen Bass, but I just, even though again I like him, Mike Tirico can't make that mistake.
No.
It's
close. It's close.
Yeah, I mean, you just, especially when you've got such ridiculously hot button issues going on in the Middle East right now involving Palestine, you cannot mistake a player with a flag for Martinique as him waging some kind of protest for Palestine.
Yeah.
He's better than that. He needs
to know better. Yeah.
He needs to be shamed this week on Sports Frenzy.
You go.
In order to become a better broadcaster. Of course, Dave and I don't need any help in that regard because we are awesome as we are.
That's right. You know it. We know it.
Do not forget to check out the weekend edition once again. Some crazy, nutsy, cuckoo movie reviews. Dave's got a book for you. We have got to play catch-up with your Uncle Dave. So you're going to hear a lot less of me on the weekend edition.
There's a lot going on, kids. Stay tuned.
Deadpool and Wolverine for you.
Yep.
Catch-up. Collective Soul Live. Catch-up. And then, of course, Jack White's new album, No Name, for both of us. Outer Range for me. I finished up the second season, even though there is no third season coming.
There's going to be no third...
Is it a terrier situation? Right or left? I'll let you know, and I'll let your Uncle Dave know.
Because that will determine if I bother continuing.
But until this coming Saturday morning, take care of yourself. Be safe. We know you're going to go out Friday night and do something stupid. That's why we do the weekend edition on Saturday morning.
Your hangover cure.
So... he's your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev. We'll check you out in 7 or 3.
And you must say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.